Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Myles. Today I want to touch on some news alerts that's going around in the MMA community. There's a lot of different things going on, and there's a lot of cool stuff going on. First things first, let's talk about Ronda Rousey recently doing an article talking about how the WWE pay she prefers over UFC pay. That's pretty huge because for me, I've never really had an inside look on how WWE wrestlers are treated and compensated and how everything works pay-wise for them. So Ronda came out and actually on an article touched on this subject. So let's get into this article. Let's check it out. As I quote, Ronda Rousey says WWE's pay structure is better than UFC. WWE's even better because everyone's on salary. It's not like you show up for a fight, you get paid. You show up for a fight, you get paid. They're treated like employees. They're on a salary. It's much more secure, says Rousey. Man, that is pretty cool in my opinion. There's some type of salary and compensation for WWE wrestlers. It's a little bit more secure because you know that you have consistent money coming in. And that's one of the big things about mixed martial arts is the pay structure. Fighters not getting paid enough in general, but also how the pay structure is. You know, with injuries, with different things coming up, you might not be able to fight. You might not be able to be guaranteed or to count on all that fight money coming in. So it'd be nice to have a little bit of a salary coming in consistently to be able to float your bills, make sure you can, have your rent paid for, your utilities paid for, just in case if you don't fight. So I thought, man, what a cool way for Ronda to come out and say this, give us a little look inside of it and touch on WWE's pay structure. Ronda also says, and I quote, "If people get injured, they can't perform months and months and months on end. They can actually continue to pay them and pay for their medical treatment and make sure they're taken care of. They do their best not to leave people high and dry. As soon as they hire people, they're on salary right away, which is very, very different from having these lump sums of prize money." That right there is right on point, I believe, because that's, again, one of the tough things. You don't know when you're going to fight, how much you're going to fight, if you're going to get injured. And having a salary on top of being able to fight and get paid, man, does that make your fight career a lot better. It makes it just a lot more stable. Stable is the best word that I'm looking for. I know myself, when I'm fighting, I get a little nervous because if I don't have a fight coming up, I have no money coming in from fighting. So being able to have some type of salary or some type of monthly or weekly stipend, man, would that be nice. That's actually awesome for the WWE wrestlers. And who knows, maybe one day UFC, MMA will also have that as well. I'd like to take a second and give a shout out to Jose Armenta, our defending Super Chat champion. Make sure if you guys are interested, come check us out live every Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We go a live stream. I'm going to talk with you guys. We're going to go over all kinds of different things from mixed martial arts to investing, and you'll have a chance to take a shot at the Super Chat Championship. See you guys there. Next up in the news of mixed martial arts is smashing that like button and hitting that subscribe button. That's on all over the news channels right now. Everybody's doing it. It's the talk of the town, so make sure you guys do it. PFL recently announced on MMA Junkie that they are suspending the rest of their 2020 season. On top of that, they're going to provide their fighters with some type of compensation. Let's get into this one. According to PFL CEO Peter Murray, the promotion will resume operations in 2021 and all contracted fighters will receive a monthly cash stipend to hold them over. PFL also announced and made a statement that goes, and I quote, "In light of the blank pandemic, the Professional Fighters League has rescheduled our upcoming 2020 season for spring of 2021, Murray said. PFL is a global MMA league with athletes from over 25 countries, and our decision is guided by the health and safety of our fighters, fans, partners, and event personnel." Man, so I salute you, PFL, because that is a very noble thing to do for the fighters. First things first, you're making sure their health and their safety is number one. On top of that, man, you're going to provide your fighters with some type of monthly compensation, even though they're not fighting. That is awesome. That's another great step forward in the MMA community. I don't know if this has ever been done. I mean, off the top of my head, I don't think any MMA promotion has ever done anything like this. Canceled events, fighters aren't fighting, but they're still going to compensate the fighters monthly with some money. That is awesome. That helps these fighters float their bills. That helps these fighters stay stay ahead and not get too behind financially, be able to pay that rent, be able to take care of your family. And it shows a good faith because PFL is going to open back up in 2021 and they're going to start putting back on cards, get their fighters fighting, and everything will be back to normal. So to me, man, that's a very honorable thing. I never heard of that done. And for PFL to do that, man, are the fighters lucky? Right now, that'd be a cool place to fight in. Not having to fight, getting a monthly check, and on top of that, you're still under contract and you can get back in that cage as soon as 2021. That sounds good. Maybe some fighters might be a little mad because they can't compete, but we don't know what this whole situation is gonna turn in from. Obviously, this pandemic, I'm not gonna name it, is going on right now, but it's obviously hurting the communities. It's hurting the cities, the states, the whole overall country, and even in the world. So with all this going on, we don't know what's going to happen. But for PFL to come out and say, "Hey, we're going to take the safety of our fighters first. We're gonna put that there first. Take care of them. We're gonna make sure we give them some monthly money." Man, awesome job, awesome job. I would also like to say though, from a business perspective, I don't know how PFL is going to do this. How are they going to cancel the rest of their cards, make no money, and on top of that, they're going to pay out their fighters? So to me, that just rings hemorrhaging money. So from a business perspective, the only thing I can think of why the PFL may be doing this from a business sense is that they can claim a loss on their taxes and save some money there. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. You know, from a business standpoint, they might be able to take a loss this year on paper, file that in their taxes, and be able to offset that loss maybe over the next couple of years. So maybe that's PFL's strategic plan behind the scenes financially, because other than that, I don't really see how this makes sense. They're losing money by not putting on cards, and they're losing money by basically paying fighters for not getting in the cage. So to me, the only thing that screams is taxes, taxes, taxes. Save money on taxes. But who knows? We'll see. Next up is UFC on May 9th. This card that UFC says they're putting on. This is very, very strange to me, honestly, because we went from UFC 249, Ferguson versus Khabib, this fight everybody wants to see. It was going to happen first in New York, and then it was going to happen in Vegas, and then it was going to happen in California, and then Mars, and then they shut it down. This fight's not happening. During this whole craziness, Khabib went to Russia, got stuck in Russia. Justin Gaethje stepped up, was going to fight Tony Ferguson. This is going to be a nasty scrap, but everything got canceled. And then, sure enough, a week later, Dana and the UFC, everybody's announcing that May 9th, these fights are back on. It's going to be, as far as I know, from the Apex in Las Vegas. And we have on this card, we have Ferguson versus Gaethje. We got Cejudo versus Cruz. On top of that, we have my boy Jeremy Stephens fighting Calvin Kattar. There's more fights on this card, but just those 3 fights right there, man, how awesome is that? This is a stacked card, and I really hope this one goes through. This fight, Gaethje versus Ferguson, man, this is a crazy fight. Ferguson's a psycho, Gaethje's a psycho. They're going to go on there, they're going to bang it out, and as far as I'm concerned, this is a huge fight for the fans. Tony Ferguson still makes weight even though UFC 249 got canceled. He ends up cutting 24 pounds over the week span, and he's quoted as just saying, "Man, it felt right." I personally think from a health standpoint, it was unnecessary. He really didn't need to go do that. The fight wasn't on. He could have waited to cut the weight for another 3 weeks until May 8th when they're going to fight, allegedly, and go from there. But Tony likes to get crazy. Tony likes to punish himself. Tony likes to go to dark places, and he decided to cut the weight. Now, to me, if this gives Tony any type of mental advantage, if this makes him feel more confident, I think it's a great thing. So Tony Ferguson still making weight, even though everything's shut down, cutting 24 plus pounds, making that championship weight. And hey, if it works for him, then God bless him. Next up, we have this wild card fight between Dominick Cruz and Henry Cejudo. This fight wasn't going to happen, but with all this situation going on, they're throwing Dominick Cruz in there to fight Cejudo. It's a great opportunity for Dominick. He's in shape. He's ready to rock. I feel like he matches up very well with somebody like Cejudo. And I feel like, man, this is going to be a great fight for the fans as well because you got Cejudo's the reigning champ, Dominick Cruz, the GOAT, and they're going to get in there. They're going to get after it. I think Dominick Cruz's elusiveness is going to be on point, sticking, moving. mixing everything up like he usually does. And then I'm interested to see how Henry Cejudo will adjust to Dominic Cruz, how he's going to deal with his footwork, his cardio, his heart, and his tenacity. I can't wait for this fight. Now the fight I'm most excited for on this card is Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar. Man, this fight is sick. Anybody that watches fighting knows Jeremy. Anybody that's watched fighting lately knows Kattar. These guys both are great strikers. This is another beautiful fight for the fans stylistically. I really think, I'm biased. Jeremy's my boy, but I think Jeremy's going to go out there. He's going to showcase a lot more skills than Kattar. I feel like he's going to push that pace. He's going to grind out Kattar, and at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, Jeremy's going to be there with his hand raised. I can see Jeremy landing punches, landing kicks. I can see him getting takedowns. I could see him winning a decision, and of course, I could see him knocking out Calvin Kattar viciously, like Jeremy usually does. So that's May 9th. That's a huge card coming up, and man, I'm excited for it. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that one. Who you think's going to win and how. Finally, I want to touch on Bellator because Bellator is one of the best promotions in the world. Now, Bellator has canceled their cards until further notice. From my perspective, it seems like Bellator is waiting. Their health of their fighters, the safety of their fighters and their staff is most important, which was evident when they canceled their last card and paid the fighters. So, to me, Bellator is just waiting. They're waiting for all this smoke to clear, waiting for it to be healthy so they can start putting on shows. As soon as the government and Trump and the economy starts getting back to work, businesses start opening back up, I can expect Bellator to start putting on cards again. I'm scheduled to fight July 17th in Thackerville, Oklahoma. I'm counting on it. I'm training for it. And as far as I know, that's going through. So with all this madness going on, we have PFL canceling the remainder of their fights, their season for 2020, and they're going to be paying monthly paychecks to all their fighters, taking care of them. We have Ronda Rousey coming in, giving us a little bit of that insight onto WWE's pay structure, how it's better than UFC's and MMA's. We also have this huge card May 9th coming up, UFC. Man, this is going to be a nasty one, and we're still waiting for Bellator to announce when they're getting back on the road, putting on great fights, great cards. The MMA community is on fire right now. A lot of beautiful things going on, and I want to check in with you guys. Anybody out there that's interested in one-on-one personal coaching, make sure to check out the link in this video in the description because I'm going to be having available a couple of one-hour sessions, one-on-one video calls for anybody that's interested out there. We can go over anything from mixed martial arts all the way to real estate investing. Whatever you want, whatever you need help with, I'm there for you. Check out that description, that link down there. I'll talk to you guys.